Hello and welcome to Regional Roundtable. I'm Will Stewart, President of the Greater Derry-Londonderry Chamber of Commerce and your host. Regional Roundtable is a program of the Greater Derry-Londonderry Chamber aimed at looking at regional economic development issues. And today is one of my favorite economic development issues, that of beer. I'm joined today here in the studio by two of our local brewers here in the town of Derry. I have Ali Buinicky, excuse me, from Rockingham Brewing Company, and Erik Kelsen from Kelsen Brewing Company. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Will. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Like I said, it's definitely one of my favorite topics, both economic development and beer, and when we can combine them, good things are going to happen.
That's right.
Maybe we can just kind of jump right in, and let's find out who are you and what do you do?
Sure.
Ali.
Well, I just moved up here with my fiance, the brewer Rob Lalesi, from Brooklyn in October, and we opened up Rockingham Brewing Company in February. So we've only been open for about 6 months now. Rob handles the brewing side and the delivery side, and then I handle pretty much everything else, which is, the marketing, the sales, the licensing, the promotions, so everything like that.
One or two things.
Yeah, I wear a few hats.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm Erik Kelsen with Kelsen Brewing, and Kelsen was founded by my good friend Paul Kelly and I. So Kelly and Olsen is Kelsen. It's really hard to find non-trademark names nowadays, so we decided to make an abstract name and trademark that. So we started up in March 1st of last year. We opened the brewery, sold our first beer. And we have a similar line of duties where Paul brews and takes care of the financing and accounting, and I'm out in the field talking to customers and working with wholesalers and doing the marketing. But we were home brewers before this and brewed for about 4 or 5 years and wanted to get bigger and bigger equipment and decided to turn our business experience and home brewing passion and kind of bring them together.
Well, it seems like a lot of people these days have this passion for brewing their own beer, both at home and increasingly as a business, as the two of you are doing. It really seems to, I don't use the word explosion lightly, but there really does seem to be a craft beer explosion taking place, really here in New Hampshire certainly, but really across the United States. What is that all about? And I guess first of all, what is craft beer and why is it exploding in popularity?
I look at craft beer as being beer that is not the mainstream, not mass-produced with adjuncts, and it has beer that has flavor and thoughtful. It's thoughtful. There's a lot of thought behind it. There's a lot of carefully sourced ingredients, and we don't necessarily focus on cutting costs to produce more volume and higher profits, but really on producing the best flavored beers, the best styles that people want to enjoy, and that what people are willing to pay a premium for to get that experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess why is it so popular? Why all of a sudden? I mean, for I guess decades, over a century in some cases, we've had some of these the bigger beers, your Buds and Millers and Coors. What changed and why?
I think that there's a whole local movement going on with a lot of different products, not just beer. People want locally sourced foods. There's a lot of farm-to-table restaurants happening right now. I think that it comes from people wanting to know where whatever they're eating or drinking came from. They come here and they meet the brewers and they come to the the tap room and see what we're all about, see where it's made, and I think people can really get behind that. It's a lot more exciting than to actually know where something's come from rather than just picking it up at the supermarket without knowing its origin, I think.
Yeah, and I think also, with the communication that we have today with social networks and websites and people connecting on forums and clubs that are virtual, I think people are sharing homebrew recipes, they're sharing clone recipes of how to make their favorite beer, they're realizing they can make great stuff at home, and it becomes that addictive, really, it feeds itself because people can share online now, and it's not just that you try a Mr. Beer kit and it comes out tasting like vinegar or something. You've got guidance and support from thousands of people around the world that are, for homebrewers at least, helping them out, and I think that's where that hobby really gets fueled.
Certainly sounds like it is kind of a community, both on the home side and even between craft brewers such as yourself who are doing it professionally.
It's supportive. It's amazing. Yeah, I feel really lucky to be part of this community.
Yeah, and it's like the wine world. We look at it as a destination. So you've got in Napa, there's probably 1,000 or thousands of wineries out there that you'd go visit, but people will make that a destination. They'll travel there. They'll make plans. They'll book their hotel, eat in the local restaurants, and visit, 5 or 6 wineries in a day. We're just starting here, I think, and there's a lot of opportunity, and we work together. If we're missing a bag of ingredients, we'll call Allie, and
vice versa.
Yeah, you're running out of something. We help each other out, and we want to create that experience that everybody can enjoy all the beers, and I think it's a great tourism outcome.
Absolutely. Well, certainly something we saw at the Chamber, and the fact that we have not just the two of you here in Derry, but also really just a stone's throw across the town line. There are also 2 breweries in Londonderry, From the Barrel and 603, and as well as Moonlight Meadery, which really is quite the concentration, and particularly in such a kind of a hyper-local area, really. And it's one of the reasons, of course, we all kind of went in together as kind of a joint venture, the Chamber and these local breweries and meaderies, to create the Greater Derry-Londonderry Beer and Mead Tour, really hoping to, like you said, to make it a destination. Maybe we're not quite at the Napa Valley level yet,
not quite.
Attracting people from all over the world to come and stay, but we're certainly hopeful that will be the case.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see that in the tasting room, and we've seen people from California, people from Michigan, people from Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island, coming in just for the beers, maybe the New England states, but business travelers. They're staying in the local hotels, and if I'm traveling, the first thing I want to look up is what's the local brewery.
Absolutely.
And that's what that card allows people to do, and we are seeing people from out of state just stopping in. They're beer fans, and they.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of people who live here and have out-of-town guests come, they're so proud to show what the towns have to offer, and all these different breweries be like, wow, come actually visit me, and we can go to do all these fun activities like right outside my door. So I think that it's something for the towns to be proud of too.
So how do people? I mean, you mentioned some of the kind of the beer connoisseurs like yourself who will automatically, wherever they go, look up the local places, and maybe some of the people who have out-of-town guests. But otherwise, how do people find out about you, and how do they make it to your locations?
It starts, I think, with the social media is a big aspect for us. It's a way to really socialize, what's going on, the promotions, the new beers, the new things that are happening, and those things have a tendency to spread virally, where people who may have friends in other states and other locations will be sharing what's out there. And then the other one is Beer Advocate, which we don't necessarily control, but the conversations start to spur up on a very beer-focused website and forum for those people who are looking for beer. What should we be trying in New Hampshire? And those starting to see those names pop up. On your way to Vermont, stop here.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great, and that's one of the reasons, of course, the Chamber wanted to put out this piece, and we think it's great that we have so much beer. And personally, as a craft beer drinker, I'm personally invested and excited. But really, from the economic development side of things, that's really what we want to do, is get those people who are driving past Derry and Londonderry anyway, right on 93. Oftentimes, whether they're heading to Vermont or up to the Lakes region, maybe up to the White Mountains, for their skiing or go to the lake or hiking, what have you, to get them maybe just to pull off the interstate, maybe just for a couple of hours, come and hit some of the local breweries, and then, hey, while you're here, maybe you grab a bite to eat, in downtown Derry, or you fill up your gas station or your car right at a gas station at exit 4 or 5,
right?
Which can really have that, have that spillover effect.
Definitely.
And I think we all actively push that as well, or not push it, but promote it. That have you been to Rockingham yet?
Absolutely. We get so many referrals, and we try to do the same.
Less than half a mile away. Or do you like cigars? The Twins has a great 6,000 square foot facility with a bar. You can go get some local beer there. Local restaurants, like Cask and Vine, that carries all the local stuff. Yeah. So we all cross promote, I think, very well.
Definitely. So.
Well, it's great to hear. It's such a collaborative venture, and not seeing each other so much as zero-sum game competitors, right. But recognizing that when really you achieve a critical mass by getting more people interested in craft beer, and then that is a rising tide that does in fact lift all boats.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
And I think there's room to grow. I mean, you look at other states, there's probably even larger concentration of breweries and a better awareness of craft beer. And I think we're just at the beginning of getting the word out. And that's why we also work together. We want to make sure that if we could help each other make good beer and provide advice and consultation and support each other, you hate to have someone go into a brewery and have that first bad craft beer, and they go, "Wow, that stuff's gross," and they never have it again.
Right.
So it's so much. We're all in the industry together.
Right. The product still has such a long way to go.
Right. So kind of seeing that kind of self-interested or self-enlightened or enlightened self-interest, I should say, and kind of quality control measures certainly makes sense. Well, speaking of the product itself and quality control, what kind of beers do you each make, and do you have a specialty, or do you make all kinds of things? What do you make?
So we make American craft style beers. So we have 3 IPAs, different strengths. Session IPA, which is light, 5.5%, easy to drink. Regular IPA and a double. Our flagship beer is our brown ale, which is a hoppy American brown ale that people who may not be into craft beers tend to like. People who say they don't like brown ales, they like because it tends to have a little bit more hop character to it. So that's the one that we've had the most success with. And then we do some big imperial stouts, 9%, 12%. Stouts in the wintertime. But we've been very focused on 6 or 7 main styles.
Okay. How about Rockingham?
We have a pretty well-rounded variety. We try to have something for everyone. Our flagship is actually a well-balanced American amber. We also have an IPA, a wheat, and one that people get really excited about is we have a bacon imperial stout called Belly of the Beast.
That's good.
Thanks. We also just started making a couple Belgian beers. We have a Belgian double and a Belgian triple, which we really love Belgian beers, and I feel like there's not too many being brewed around here right now, so we kind of wanted to introduce those into the market around here a little bit. And so far, so good.
That's a good thing too, is that between all the breweries, there's not a lot of overlap in styles.
We're all kind of brewing what we like, and it's working.
Everyone brews. We brew beers we like to drink, and I think it's not like we're all going head to head trying to have the next heady topper, and all compete for one style. We all have our strengths, and I think people appreciate that when they're on the tour too.
Yeah.
Go to 603 and grab some great canned beer that you take to the beach, and come to Kelsen, grab a brown ale, grab an amber and some Belgians from Rockingham, and grab some mead. So it's a fun tour, and you get a lot of variety.
Absolutely, yeah.
Drink and drive responsibly.
Of course.
Oh yes,
like
yes. Uber X is in town, so there's a little plug for Uber.
Indeed. So, Allie, you actually brought something for us to sample today. What do you have?
I did, yeah. I have our flagship, the Rockingham Ale. So this is a well-balanced amber. It's a little on the hoppy side for an amber ale.
It is a solid beer.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I've had your brown ale. That's the Paradigm.
Paradigm brown ale. Yes.
Now, I know, I'm curious, how you name your beers. I know Rockingham,
Right, because the Rockingham, so we have a very loose pig theme going on. Yeah, which is great. So we've got Cloven Hoof for the Belgian double, 3 little pigs, the Belgian triple, Belly of the Beast, kind of self-explanatory.
How about Kelsen? How do you do it there?
Yeah, so my dad who's no longer with us. He and I made wine when I was younger. I helped him make wine. We made back in the 80s. We made craft beer at home. Wasn't very good, but he was big into the Olsen heritage and the Viking theme. So when we went camping, we had a sign at our campsite that had all the Olsen caricatures as Vikings. His little 22-foot fishing boat was called Das Fisker, and it had a Viking on the side. So to honor him, because I know he would have loved to have seen what we built, Paul and I, I wanted to honor my dad and carry that through. And Paul said, Vikings are pretty cool, so let's do that. So we continue to kind of leverage that medieval Viking theme, some of those characters.
Vikings are cool, as is pork.
So,
everyone loves pork, yeah.
What's not to like? So where can folks actually find and buy your beer?
So there's a lot of local places. So there's the 2 drinkeries in Derry and Londonderry, and Lazy Dog Beer Shop in Londonderry, right behind Mr. Steers. And on tap, there's a number of locations all the way along 102.
Yep.
I think we've been in all of them. So Cask and Vine is a great place to start for beer. Hilltop in Derry is the former Stephen James Tavern up on the hill. And then Halligan's Tavern.
Right.
You're in Cafe Teresa's now?
Yep. And you can find a list of all of the places we're on our website right now, both in bottles and on premise. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And what are your websites, by the way?
Ours is rockinghambrewing.com.
Okay.
And we're kelsenbrewing.com.
Now, you mentioned one of your fellow craft brewers, 603. They're, of course, then see those cans that they have, but you're on tap at places, and you have growlers and some of the big bomber bottles and things like that can be purchased. Now, I know people can purchase them at your actual locations,
Right.
correct?
That's right, yep. Our tap room's open, let's see, 3 to 7 Thursday, Friday, and then 1 to 7 on Saturday. So you can fill up your growler or grab some bottles. You can do some tastings there. We do flights of 5 or flights of 3. We have 8 beers on tap at all times. Also, I forgot to mention, we are selling our beer at the Derry Farmers Market, which is happening Wednesdays 3 to 6.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's another outlet.
I'm sorry, did you say where your location is, your tap room?
Oh, it's 1 Corporate Park Drive, right here in Derry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's off of Ash Street Extension, half a mile from Kelsen.
About to say almost literally a stone's throw.
Yep.
Very, very close.
Yes. Yeah. And we're at 80 North High Street. So right where Folsom Drive takes a hard left and becomes North High Street, we're right there on the corner. And yeah, we're open similar hours, Thursday, Friday, 4 to 7, and Saturday, 12 to 6. Bottles and growlers and tastings available.
Okay. What else can people do when they actually come to your places, in addition to taste some great beer, obviously?
Yeah, we encourage people to hang out, relax. We do have a TV. We hope to start showing movies at some point, but we can also give you a small tour of the back where we brew the beer, and then you have the flights where you can sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, we actually also sell ice cream at our location. So there's an individual, Chris Perry, who started Chris's Wicked Ice Cream. He actually started off as the franchisee in some of the Stone Cold creameries in New Hampshire, and decided to take some of our beer and make ice cream with it. So you can come get our Paradigm beer ice cream, 1.7% ABV, with brownies and caramel, or our Draken Robust Porter ice cream with Heath Bar and caramel. So that's something that we're doing differently. And we have a small tasting room, so we do a lot of individual samplings, so that whoever's working the tasting room that day can really explain the beer, what's behind it, what the ingredients are, and people come back to us and we give them a new sampler. So we tend to do all of our tastings one by one. Pretty small tasting room, but it's fun.
Yeah. The ice cream's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do need to try that.
I just tried pumpkin Paradigm today, so that's a new flavor coming out.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
I bet.
I could go off on a tangent on the availability of the pumpkin beer so far,
yes.
so early in the season,
We all
but we'll avoid that for now. It has a time and its place. I like it, but August is not that time and place. So how does it work kind of in the beer world with regard to, mentioning cans and bottles and being available? When, if ever, will folks be able to pick up some Kelsen or some Rockingham, in a can or bottle in the local grocery store? Is that part of your plans?
So we're right now, the bottles are, we tend to stay in the smaller markets where there can be more focused hands-on selling. We're not in Market Basket or Shaw's or Hannaford yet. I mean, it's not part of the plan right now. We're trying to keep it where people can actually know more about the beer and they can hand sell it. For us, cans are probably about 12 months away, 12 to 18 months as part of the plan. As we grow out our volume and we can support a canning line, it's a slightly lower margin product, and we need to be able to produce a lot of it to make it worthwhile. So right now we wouldn't be able to keep up with capacity, but that's a 12-month, 18-month plan.
Yeah. We're pretty much in the same boat as Kelsen there. We're not in Market Basket or any place like that yet, just because we're just not big enough to satisfy that demand, I don't think yet. Someday, hopefully. And we also hope to be in cans by next summer. We'll see. But that's the plan.
Always
Fluid, forgive the pun. Plan,
yes.
I know. So, as we kind of work to wrap up here, what's next for the craft brew scene here in the Derry-Londonderry region? Where do you think it's going? Are we going to see other breweries popping up?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would expect that I've heard there's 20 to 30 more applications in process.
That's
Within the
statewide?
state, yeah,
Statewide,
right,
yeah, not here.
Not
Yeah.
right here.
But we would welcome it. It'd be great to have other breweries in town, and you know, I think as the craft beer scene evolves here, I think we'll start to see different styles of beer too. It might take some time, but you know, we're starting to see sour beers appear on tap, and sour beers are something that a lot of people haven't heard of, but they can tend to have kind of a champagne and a crisp tart flavor in a good way. They're sour in a good way, and they're hard